Here are 3 cool ways to lace Vans, including diamond lacing, loose lacing, and bar lacing. Timestamps for each are down below. Let's get into it. Begin by taking your lace and feeding it into the 2 very bottom eyelets, coming up into each from underneath as I've done here. Then make sure your lace ends are of equal length. Then we're going to pop this guy out the way for a while. Take this lace and bring it over to the 3rd eyelet up from the bottom on the right hand side and feed it down into that eyelet there. So that's the 3rd eyelet up from the bottom on the right. Pull it nice and tight like that, make sure there are no creases. Then keep a hold of this lace and bring it up into the next eyelet up from underneath as I'm doing here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring it back over the sneaker tongue and down into the 2nd eyelet from the bottom on the left hand side this time. Pull it through. Just take your time and pause if you need to follow along with me. Now we'll have our 2nd little diagonal line. Keep hold of this lace, again bring it into the next eyelet up from underneath, just as I'm doing here, like so. And then we're going to bring it back over the sneaker tongue into the next eyelet up on this side. Remember to pause and straighten out any laces if you need to. Then we're going to take it into the next eyelet up on the right. Bring it over into this eyelet here. And we're going to do this pattern one more time. So bring it into the next eyelet up from underneath. Then across the sneaker tongue. And we're going to bring it into the 2nd eyelet from the top on the left hand side this time. And this is where we're going to stop. Now we're going to pop this lace out the way. I just like to tuck it down inside the Vans. And make sure all of these little diagonal lines are looking nice and even. Now we're going to take a hold of this guy, this lace here, and we're going to bring it underneath this 1st little diagonal line here. Just pull it all the way through. I'm going to take it over this next diagonal line. And we're going to bring it down into the 3rd eyelet from the bottom on the left hand side here. So just take your time, feed it in there. And I'm going to pull that all the way through. You'll see what I've done. And then we're going to keep a hold of this lace and we're going to bring it up into the 4th eyelet from the bottom on the left hand side from underneath. So peel back that bit of the canvas there, push it through, pull it through like that. So it should be now in the 4th eyelet from the bottom on the left hand side. Now we're going to bring it back over this diagonal lace, underneath this one here, and over this one here. Make sure everything's looking nice and straight. And we're going to take it down into the empty eyelet, that's the 2nd one up from the bottom on the right hand side. Take it down into there. This can seem a bit tricky, but just go slowly and pause as much as you need to until you have a result like this. So now we want to take our lace and we're going to bring it up into the 3rd eyelet from the bottom on the right hand side from underneath. Now this can seem a bit fiddly, but take your time. Just find the gap there, push it up through the eyelet, the 3rd eyelet from the bottom on the right, bring it through there. And now we're going to weave him. And it's going to go over this diagonal lace, underneath this one, over this one, and down into this eyelet here, which is the 4th from the top on the left hand side. So push it down into there and pull it through, making sure everything looks nice and neat. Now we're going to take this lace and feed it up into the 3rd eyelet from the top on the left hand side from underneath, just like that. And then we're going to bring it over this first lace, under this second one, over the next one, and down into the fourth eyelet from the bottom on the right hand side. So just going to pull it through there, making sure everything looks nice and neat. Now I'm going to keep a hold of this lace and bring it into the next eyelet up, which will be the fourth from the top on the right hand side. So just take your time, find the correct hole. This could be a bit tricky, but there's no rush. Bring it up into that eyelet. Oh, and mine has accidentally looped one of the other laces, which is fine. Mistakes like this happen. Take a minute and just redo this step with me. So I'm going to pull that lace back through. So I don't want that to be happening. I'm going to make sure it's out of the way of the other laces. And I'm going to bring it into the fourth eyelet down from the top on the right hand side, just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this lace over this one here, under this one here, and down into the second eyelet from the top on the left. Make sure there are no creases. And what this does here is completes the diamond pattern. So what we're going to want to do is take a minute just to straighten everything out and adjust the pattern so it looks nice. Now what you can do here is bow the laces as normal. I like to bow mine and then tuck them behind the sneaker tongue. I find that doesn't bother the top of my foot personally, and it finishes the look off in a nice crisp way. Then repeat on your other shoe, and what you'll have is a really cool diamond laced pair of Old Skool Vans. Here's the best way to lace Old Skool Vans in a loose lace style that will just slip on. Begin by taking your lace and threading this lace end down into the very bottom eyelet here from above, not up from underneath. Pull that through. Then pop that one out of the way. Take this lace end and we're going to do the same. Thread it down into the very bottom eyelet on this side from above, not from underneath. I'm going to pull that one all the way through. Make sure there are no twists. Then bring your two lace ends together and we're going to make sure they're the same length. So just take a moment to adjust them. Mine definitely aren't the same length. If you got it on the first try, then well done. That's super hard. And then once they're of the same length, go ahead and pop this one out of the way. Swap back to this one. And we're going to bring it over the tongue of your Vans, down into the second eyelet up from the bottom on this side now. Just like that. And you want to leave it slightly loose, not too much, but just a little there, so there's some slack on the lace. Then swap to the other one. Bring it over the sneaker tongue and down into that eyelet. On the other side from above. Again, leaving a little bit of slack. Then we're going to keep a hold of this lace, bring it over the sneaker tongue and down into the next eyelet, the third one, up from the bottom on that side. Make sure there's a little bit of looseness. Swap back to the other one, do the same on the other side. Third eyelet up from the bottom. Now if you need to slow down a little bit, you can play the video on a slower speed, or you can just keep pausing. Take your time, make sure to get it right. There's no rush. Pop that one out of the way. Now we're going to keep a hold of this one, bring it over and into the fourth eyelet up from the bottom on this side. From above, just like we've been doing, leaving a little bit of slack, like that. Swap back to the other one, same on the other side. Looking good. Keep a hold of it, bring it over into the next available eyelet, pull it through, making sure there's no twists. Swap it over, grab the other one, same on the other side, down into from above, pulling it through, just making sure we're leaving a little bit of slack here. keep a hold of this one and down into the next available eyelet on that side. Pull it through. And we're doing really well, getting close to the end of our pattern here, so just keep going. Swap back to the other lace, down into this eyelet here. Nice, keep a hold of it. Into the next eyelet, so I'm at the second one down from the top now. And do the same on the other side. And just take a second to make sure there's a little bit of slack in all of those so you'll be able to slip your foot in easily. And now we're going to do something a little bit different. For the very top eyelets here. We're going to go up into them from underneath this time. So just pull your laces through, swap back to the other one. Pull it through. And now we're going to finish it by doing a loose lace style at the top. So just go ahead and pull that lace back through, round about until you have this much lace left, or however much you think looks good. For me, I think about this much looks okay. Do the same on the other side, pulling it through until you've got the same amount. Just make sure they're the same length and they're looking good. Then these loose bits of lace here, we're literally just going to take them back and tuck them behind the sneaker tongue here. Now these will just sit on top of your foot and they won't cause any trouble at all. And it means you'll be able to just slip on your Vans without the need for tying them at all. Repeat on the other shoe and you'll have laced up your Old Skool Vans in a cool way. So if your Vans are fresh out of the box, they should have a little loop lace like this already done in them. But if they don't, just take both lace ends down into the two bottom eyelets of your Vans, then pull the lace ends together to make sure they're the same length before we begin. Then my first tip for you is to take a pair of socks and put the socks down underneath the sneaker collar. The reason I do this is it creates a nice bit of resistance underneath the sneaker tongue with the sock, which means your bars will all come out at nice even lengths and not small at the bottom and loose at the top. So then the first thing you want to do is take this lace on the right hand side, and then you want to take it up and underneath through the second eyelet on this side, like this, so it's kind of hidden there. Pop this guy out of the way, and then you want to bring this lace over to your left hand side and thread it down into the second eyelet on this side here, and make sure it doesn't fold or crease. We want it to look nice and crisp. And as you can see, you've formed your second bar. Then put this lace up and out the way. Take this lace up and through the third eyelet on this side here, and then you want to bring it over to this side just like we did before, and into the third eyelet on this side here. Take your time, make sure there's no folds in the lace, and make sure they're all looking roughly the same size. I'll tighten that one a little bit. And again, pop this one out of the way. Keep a hold of this lace, bring it up into the fourth eyelet on this side. Bring it over and into the fourth eyelet on this side. As your laces get a little bit shorter, this gets a lot easier and quicker to do as well. Make sure it's looking nice and even and good. Then pop it out the way. Back to the other lace, take it up through the fifth eyelet on this side. Bring it over. Once you've completed the fifth eyelet, again, just take the same lace, bring it up and over. Maybe just follow along with me to make sure you get it right all the way through, making sure all the bars are looking nice and even. Again, put this one out the way, take this guy here. We're getting really close to the finishing product now. Bring it over. And once you get used to doing this pattern, it gets much easier to do your second shoe as well. what we're going to do is leave this guy out of the way for now, and we're going to finish the look with this lace. Up through the eyelet here. And then down into this one here for a nice seamless finish. If you like, you can knot your laces into a bow here and leave these two empty. Or what I like to do is take both laces and fasten them into a knot like this. And then I like to tuck that knot down underneath the sneaker tongue with the laces. And settle it down there until it feels comfortable when on. And this is a great way of lacing your Vans so that they slip on. Then, I'm gonna bring in the one I did earlier. Once you've got both done, this is what they should look like, and you'll be left with a really cool pair of bar-laced Vans. If you found the information in this video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button. That way you won't lose it and you can come back to it later.